moisturizing my skin, so I'm going to be using the Pomegranate Balancing Gel Cream Moisturizer. This is really good for oily and combination skin. I actually got this when I visited the Sephora in Queens Center Mall, New York. Shout out to you girls, because you girls are awesome over there. I loved it. I took it on vacation with me when I went to Mexico last week. As you can see, it leaves like this like sheer tint onto your skin, and it just makes it look so luminous and glowy. I highly recommend this moisturizer for all skin types. The next product that we're going to take is the Pixi Glow Mist. This is infused with argan oil. I love this because this also gives you a more of a luminous look to your skin as well. So I guess I'll kind of dive in and chit chat with you guys as to like why I fell off of YouTube. And I know a lot of you always message me like, what happened? And why did you stop YouTube videos? And you know, I think I owe it to you guys to kind of just explain my side, and thank you for my loyal followers who've been following me. I had a really rough 2017. Some of you know that I used to work for Victoria's Secret. Oh, FYI, I'm priming my skin, and I'm actually using the Urban Decay Urban Defense Complexion Primer. This actually has SPF 30. This primer is amazing, and it's great for a complexion primer. I love it that it has SPF 32, especially with this weather, and in New York City it's summer right now. It's really hot and the sun is beaming, so this is such a great primer for your skin. I like to just rub it, and then I go ahead and dab it into my skin. I know a lot of you have been messaging me kind of as to why I stopped my YouTube videos and how come I fell off of Instagram and YouTube for a while, and you know, I do owe it to you guys to kind of explain to you why I haven't uploaded on YouTube in almost over a year. So we'll chit chat and you can learn a little bit about why that happened. I'm trying to figure out what foundation I want to use. I actually think I'm going to try a new one. I'm going to try these new foundations. These are from Milk. I've never used them. I'm gonna try these out. I'm a little bit more tan now, so I really don't know what color I would be, but we're just gonna give it a try. I'm just gonna go with it. So I'm just gonna take some on my hand, put it on my bottom of my beauty blender, just dab it, and then just dab it into your skin. So basically, I was working for Victoria's Secret for about 7 years, and in last April, there was a compliment change that changed within the company, and I was affected by losing my job, and I was like very, very, very devastated by that because I love that company so much and I loved working with the people. But that hit me really hard. I got into a new relationship with my current boyfriend right now. Things escalated very quickly between him and I. We moved in together. I moved in with him. His house, where he lives in now, doesn't have a good amount of space where I can actually film. So it was very hard. I was in a new relationship. I had just lost my current job, and then I just had nowhere to film. I wasn't posting any content, and I wasn't really filming because I was very affected by what had happened to me. So I just focused on my new relationship, and I wasn't filming or anything. And then I finally decided, like a year after, I was like, I have to film. Like, I'm truly passionate about beauty. I'm truly passionate about being a vlogger. A lot of you guys were messaging me as like, what's going on, and come back, and we miss you. And it makes me happy doing this. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go back on YouTube. I'm gonna go back on Instagram, and I'm going to continue to do what I was doing a year and a half ago. So here I am back filming for you guys. I have been posting like Instagram videos, but I was telling myself like, when am I gonna get back on YouTube? And you guys are always asking me, when are you gonna get back? So here I am, and I'm finally back. So let's talk about this foundation. So the foundation that I use is from Milk. This was like the first time that I ever used it. It's amazing. Like amazing. I have full coverage. It's very full coverage. It even, like, look at my lips. They look so good. So next I'm gonna go in with contouring my skin. I'm gonna talk to you about a product that I have been loving. All right, so I'm really living for this foundation. I'm gonna go ahead and contour my skin a little bit. So I'm gonna be using the Hoola contouring stick. I like to contour a little bit differently. I don't directly put it onto my skin. I like to use the Luxie 660 Precision Brush. I'll just kind of like dab it onto the brush and then brush it in circular motions for exactly where I want to contour. I'm actually going to be using the So Stu Contour Palette. This is actually my first time using it, so let's see kind of how it works. I like to kind of dab the cream. Onto a brush, and then I just kind of like to brush it into the contour that I really like. I like to like brush it into the skin versus directly putting it on. So now we're looking a little kind of like bronzy over here. So we are going to go and conceal our skin now. I'm going to be using 2 different concealers. So I'm going to be using my NARS Creamy Custard and my Frankie Rose Chai, which I really love both of these. Like these concealers together are amazing. I love the formula. They don't dry super quickly together. The NARS alone dries super quickly, but when you combine it with the Frankie Rose, it doesn't dry as quickly as it normally does. So we'll go ahead and start concealing. I like to conceal right here and kind of just bring it in towards your under eye like that. And then do the opposite side as well. And then you kind of just bring it inwards. Now for this concealer, I kind of just like to bring it right kind of like in the middle. I don't like to drag it all the way out, only because this concealer is so full coverage that if you do drag it out so much, then what will happen is that your skin will tend to look really, really bright, and then it will also look very cakey as well. So if you want to avoid something like that, don't bring it out. Now I know a lot of people, when they love to contour, they love to like bring out their concealer, but I have learned that it's just not effective that way, and it gives you a lot of flashback in your photos. Now I'm gonna go in with the Frankie Rose Chai again and just kind of mix it in with the custard NARS. I love concealer, and a lot of you know that. I conceal pretty much everything. So before I go ahead and blend this all out, I'm actually gonna grab some Fix Plus spray and kind of just spray my entire face. I'm going to grab a beauty blender and then we're just gonna blend that out. So right after I go ahead and blend out the concealer, I like to go back in with the beauty blender that I use with my foundation, and I go ahead and use the bottom part where I use the foundation to put it right on top so that it doesn't look too white or too harsh as well. And you can see that that automatically makes a difference. Alright you guys, we are coming along. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna set the face. I'm going to be using the new Huda Beauty baking powders. I love, love, love these. I've noticed that I took my hands off of the Laura Mercier translucent powder for a little while, and I've been finding myself pretty much using this all the time. I like to mix banana bread and pound cake together because it gives me like the perfect type of complexion powder for me. I really love it. That's pretty much what it looks like when I about this powder is that it literally does not make your foundation look really cakey, which is what I really love about it, because sometimes I felt like Laura Mercier just made my skin look a little bit too dry at times, but this powder does not do that for me, and it's very, very, very translucent, so it doesn't even give me flashback when I take photos, which I really can appreciate it. So thank you Huda Beauty for coming out with an amazing powder. Okay, even though it's like, we need to figure out how we're gonna create it where that I don't get a lot of fallout, because that's the only bad thing about this, is like, I get a lot of fallout because of the way that it is, like how it's made. You see how a lot of the product is falling out? That's the only downside of it, so you lose a lot of product. I can't, like, I wish you can see what my table looks like right now, because there's freaking powder all over the place. So we're gonna jump in with eyebrows. The products that I really love to use for my eyebrows. First, let me find a really good eyebrow brush that I want to use. So the first product that I love to use for my eyebrows is from Benefit Cosmetics. It's called the Foolproof Brow Powder. It looks like this. Ever since they launched this is all that I've been using for my eyebrows, which is amazing. You guys know my eyebrow routine and how much I love my Benefit Cosmetics. Their brow products are amazing. So the brush that I'm gonna be using is from Sosu. This is the SE206 brush. Very small and detailed, perfect for kind of just getting into the brow. So I love it, love it, love it. Go ahead and brush your brows up really quickly. I like to have that like feathery effect to it. So I like to brush them up because for me that works and it makes it look a little bit more natural. Foolproof brow powder actually has two different shades. So there's one light shade here and then it shades into a darker shade. So the lighter shade you're gonna wanna use more towards the inner of your eyebrow, and then the darker shade you're gonna wanna use towards the tail of your eyebrow. So now I'm gonna go in with the darker shade and we're just gonna focus that towards the end of the tail of our eyebrow. Brows, I see you coming through. So what I like to do now is I like to clean up my eyebrows. So I'm gonna be using the NARS Creamy Custard Concealer. This is the concealer that I use to brighten up my under eyes. I don't like to do it on the top of my eyebrow. I only like to do it on the bottom, only because when you do and you carve out the top of your eyebrows, what happens is that it makes your eyebrow look so carved out and it looks very noticeably and very visibly unauthentic. And obviously we don't want very defined eyebrows, so we want to make it as natural as possible. I'm going to be taking my Lashy Listress E102 brush. I take a little bit of that concealer and then I go ahead and focus it right towards the end of my tail. Clean up your brows. It's going to make it look a lot more cleaner. If you have little growing hairs, that's just going to kind of like cover it all up so you can have fresh looking brows. The next product that I'm going to be using for my eyebrows is the Precisely My Brow Pencil. I am in the shade 5. I love this pencil. I literally just focus this on kind of like the tail of my eyebrow, and I make sure that I look like I'm doing feathering strokes just to have that like feathery natural effect. Now I'm going to set my brows, and I'm gonna be using the Benefit Cosmetics 24-hour brow setter. It's a setting gel, which literally works what the bottle says, 24 hours, okay? The way I like to brush this into the skin is just brushing it up. I never like to brush it down. It just makes your eyebrow look very, very spotty. So we're gonna jump into the eyes now. We're gonna go ahead and prime our eyelids. So I have really been loving the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer. It has been amazing. This has pretty much been out since forever. I remember being like 17 or 18 years old and this still existed. Brush the primer into your eyelid. I like to dab it like this. And then I'm just gonna grab some setting powder and just set the primer. So the eyeshadow palette that I'm going to be using today on my eyes is from Profusion Cosmetics. This is their Siennas palette. This palette was my go-to palette when I went to Mexico. I only brought this palette, but you can see all of the beautiful colors in here. You have all different shades in here. You have a yellow shade, brown shades, bronzy shades, dark tone shades, purple shades. Every type of shade in here is what you need. It has the perfect transition shades. It has a lot of shimmers. So the first shade that I'm gonna use used is Serendipity. It's like this like mustard yellow kind of color. I'm going to work this shade into my crease. So we already kind of blended in that yellow into our crease. It looks very beautiful. I love it. So now we're going to be taking the shade that we're going to blend in with the yellow. So I'm going to be taking Daring, which is this like brownish orangey tone. I'm going to take a very little bit on the same exact brush that I use. Just make sure you always tap off the excess powder because it will make your eyeshadow look very chalky if you don't. And slightly with a very light hand, you're going to blend that into your outer crease and then work it in your inner crease. What you want to create here is making it look more of like a sunset eye. Alrighty, so the next shade that I'm going to take is Cozy. It's the darkest shade in the palette. I'm just going to take a little bit of that shade. Again, tap off your excess powder, and then we're going to go ahead and focus that towards the outer to make it look a little bit smoked out towards the outer of your eyelid. And with the remaining powder on this brush, bring it inwards towards the inner of your crease. The blending brush that I'm using is from Morphe Cosmetics. This is the M441 brush. I love this brush. It's legit so perfect for blending. Now with a clean blending brush, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of blend all of the harsh lines towards the outer of my eyelid. Going to be using is from Pixi. This is their new liquid fairy lights. I have been loving these because they are so pigmented. It's a liquid eyeshadow that has tons of glitter in it with a lot of sheer, which is perfect for like your inner corners. I have been really loving that look and I've been gearing towards it a lot more. So I'm going to be combining the two of these. This is actually in rose gold and then this one is in their brilliance. Grab the rose gold fairy light shadow and we're just going to top it a little bit over the bare brilliance shadow. So I'm going to go back in with Cozy, the darkest eyeshadow of the Profusion Sienna palette, and I'm just going to go ahead and focus that right on the outer of my eyelid. We're going to be using some black eyeliner now. I'm going to be using the Sigma Longwear Eye Pencil, and this is just in black. I'm going to go ahead and put this black eyeliner in my top waterline. So with any black eyeshadow, it really doesn't matter what black eyeshadow, I'm going to be grabbing a very small detailed taper brush. This is from Sosu, it's SE205. I'm just going to put that right on top of kind of where my waterline is, where you would put your wing eyeliner. We're not really doing a wing eyeliner because my eyeliner really hasn't been my thing for a while. We're just going to smoke it out a little bit so it looks a lot more dramatic, and you're going to see the difference between this side versus this side without it. So you can see how this eye looks way more noticeable. It looks a little bit more intense, and that's just using a slight bit of black eyeshadow. So for eyelashes, this is my first time ever. I'm going to be using the Lily Lashes. I'm going to be using the style Goddess. I've heard so much about this lash brand, and it's my first time using it, so let's see how I feel about it. Because everybody talks about this lash brand and I don't know why I've never used it. Oh, it's a very thin band. I like it. So a little trick that I like to do is I like to grab my lashes and wrap it around my pinky, and I'll literally leave it like that for like maybe 15 seconds. What that does is that just kind of like makes your lash band a little bit more flexible for you to actually get onto your eye. Wow, these are very beautiful. Wow. And they look so good, and they're so easy to apply because of how like flexible the lash band is. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take off this powder. So now we're going to bronze up the skin. I use 2 different bronzers. So I use the MAC Cosmetics Give Me Sun bronzer, and then I use the Urban Decay Beach bronzer. I like to start off with the Give Me Sun because it is very, very bronzy, and then I like to cool it down with the Urban Decay bronzer. So these 2 together have pretty much been like my go-to. I love them. There's a little bit. I'm gonna take the Give Me Sun bronzer, and we're just gonna work that right where we contoured our cheekbones. Urban Decay, I just like to take a bigger fluffy brush and kind of just go right over where I bronze up my skin. We're gonna go ahead and just smoke out our bottom lash line really quickly. So for my bottom lashes, I'm going to be using the Scuba mascara from The Balm. What I really like about it is that it's really small and tapered. It's like perfect to get under your eyes. But a little trick that I like to do is I actually like to bend my mascara like that, which has been a huge trick of mine thanks to Mac Daddy. And this, because it's angled this way, you're actually going to be able to get right under your lash line. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my Fix Plus spray. I just like to cover my eyes and then spray it around my face. Boom, I didn't even touch my eyes. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start with my favorite part of makeup, which is obviously highlighting your skin. I have been loving the Anastasia Beverly Hills collaboration with Ambreezy highlighter. Now this highlighter specifically does not have like a name. It's just a collaboration with Ambreezy and Anastasia, and it's just so beautiful and pigmented, and it just looks amazing on the skin. So a little trick that I love to do, and this may not work for everyone, but it's a trick that I have been loving. I actually shared this trick with a lot of you, and a lot of you told me that you love it and it's been working for you. So what I like to do is I like to take the bottom of my beauty blender, I dab it into the highlighter, and then I go ahead and work that highlighter into my skin. So you'll see what I'm talking about. Y'all see that? So now that we are all pretty much glowed up, the look is just about done. What we're gonna do is do our lips now. I think I'm gonna do a really vibrant red. I'm just feeling like this would really pop with a kind of like a bright red. So first what I'm gonna do is prime my lips using the NYX Cosmetics Suede Matte Lip Liner. And I have really been loving the shade Sandstorm, which has been working for pretty much every single lipstick shade. I'm feeling like really vibrant lip, which is what I really want to go for. So I'm going to be using the Crystal Hearts. It's like a vibrant kind of like red shade, and this is in the shade 312. So this is what I'm going to be using. This is pretty much the finished look. I hope you guys really love these 2 combinations of these colors together. I really love the way this liquid lipstick feels. The texture is really nice. I love this color. It's so beautiful. I hope that you guys really loved this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel, and I will see you next week on my next YouTube video. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.